We shall now have a moment of silence, meditation, and prayers. Let me take this opportunity to welcome all members here and all our guests that are present in attendance. Honorable Mokoena, Honorable Khwabani, and Mukabela, the Honorable Deputy Speaker, the Chair of Chairs, as well as the Honorable Member, who is the leader of government business today. And all honorable members, that are representatives that are in attendance today. In line with the agreement of the Multi-Party Whips Committee, all proceedings shall be suspended. Special adjustment appropriation bill. The 6 appropriation bill as required by Section 27, subsection 2 of Public Finance Management Act number 1 of 1999 and Rule 185 subsection 2 of the Standing Rules and Orders, the 10th edition 2022. We now proceed to motions. The Acting Secretary shall read motion 1.
That leave be granted B2 of 2025.
The Honorable MEC for Finance, Ketso Toto Makume. The Acting Secretary shall read the bill for the first time. Honorable MEC, you may take your seat so long. The Acting Secretary shall read the bill for the first time.
Special Adjustment Appropriation Bill B2 of 2025.
The Honorable MEC may present an introductory speech on the bill.
Special Adjustment Appropriation Bill B2 of 2025.
Honorable Speaker, the Premier, the Deputy Speaker, members of the Executive Council, Chair of Chairs, traditional leaders, Marena, Ateng Mona, members of the Free State Legislature, executive mayors, mayors and councillors, Acting Director General of the province, heads of departments of the provincial and public entities, chairpersons of the respective provincial boards, distinguished guests, people of the Free State, esteemed ladies and gentlemen, Dumela, Goeiemiddag, good afternoon. Honorable Speaker, the opportunity provided is very appreciated. Speaker, on the 3rd of March of 2025, the National Treasury issued a Gazette number 52207 of 2025, confirming the following: stopping of funds from the Human Settlement Development Grant, allocation of additional funds towards the informal settlements, upgrading partnership grantors, and allocation of additional funds towards educational infrastructure grants. Honorable members, the stopping of funds is regulated by Section 18 of the Division of Revenue Act number 3 of 2024. Whilst the reallocation of the stop funds is done in terms of Section 19 of the same Act. Honorable Speaker, let me briefly provide the details of the aforesaid changes. The National Department of Basic Education, with the concurrence of the National Treasury, has stopped funding for the education infrastructure grant for the following province: Limpopo, 187 million. The stopped funds are reallocated to the education infrastructure grant of the following provinces. Allow me to announce that Free State Department of Education will receive 50 from that allocation, and KZN will receive the remaining. Secondly, the National Department of Human Settlement, with the concurrence of the National Treasury, stopped funds from the informal settlements upgrading partnership grant of the following provinces: Gauteng 150 million and the Western Cape 100 million. Therefore, as per Section 19 of the DORA, the funds are reallocated to the informal settlements upgrading partnership grant of the following provinces. Again, let me announce that the Free State received 50 million and the remaining 50 goes to the Eastern Cape, and Northwest receive 150 million. Lastly, the National Department of Human Settlement, with the agreement of the National Treasury, has stopped funding from the Human Settlement Development Grant of the following provinces: Free State 50 million, Western Cape 200 million, Gauteng 300 million. The funds are relocated to the Human Settlements Development Grant of the following provinces: Limpopo 200, KZN Natal 100 million, and then Mpumalanga 250 million. Honorable Speaker, the bill I'm tabling basically reflects the implications of the said Gazette of the province. In summary, the province will receive 50 million for education infrastructure grant, receive another 50 million towards informal settlements upgrading partnership grant, and forfeit 50 million, which is being stopped from the Human Settlement Development Grant. Honorable Speaker, I hereby table the 2024-2025 Special Adjustment Bill, Bill number 2 of 2025. I thank you all.
Thank you. What does the Honorable MEC propose?
Thank you all.
Thank you. What?
That the bill be referred in the Portfolio Committee on Public Accounts and Finance, as well as the Budget and Oversight Committee.
Any discussion? Any objection? None approved. The bill stands referred to the Portfolio Committee on Public Accounts and Finance, as well as the Budget and Oversight Committee for consideration and report back to the House. We proceed to motion 2. The Secretary shall read motion 2.
That leave be granted for the tabling of the 2025-2026 Appropriation Bill B3 of 2025.
Honorable MEC.
Speaker, I move.
Any discussion? Any discussion?
None.
I ask again, any discussion? Any objection? Approved. The Honourable MEC may table the 2025-26 Appropriation Bill. The Secretary shall read the bill for the first time.
Appropriation Bill B3 of 2025.
Honourable MEC, you may now address the House.
Honorable Speaker, Honorable Ntate Dukwana, Honorable Premier, Queen Letsoa Matai, the Deputy Speaker, Menolita Dungwane, members of the Executive Council, Chair of Chairs, traditional leaders, Marena Ateng, members of the Free State Legislature, executive mayors and speakers, heads of departments and CEOs of the provincial public entities, chairperson of the respective provincial boards, people of the Free State Province Dumela. Honorable Speaker, It is both a privilege and great responsibility to stand before this august House today to present the following document: the Appropriation Bill of number 3 of 2025, the People's Guide to the Budget, and the 2025-2026 budget speech. Behind the clouds, the sun is still shining. Even though rain must fall, and every life has times of trouble, behind the cloud, the sun is always shining and waiting to come out again. Life is the same. It can get heavy, cloudy, and dark, but the sun is still there, shining behind those cloudy moments. Clouds come and go in our lives, but the sun is always there. We just have to look for it, and sometimes that means waiting for the clouds to pass or getting above them to be able to bask in the sun. We are tabling this budget under serious economic pressures of the rising unemployment, the widening gap of inequality between the rich and the poor, or between the haves and the have-nots, and poverty continuing to raise its ugly head. Despite all these challenges, we are not without hope. Honorable members, we are tabling this budget during the Human Rights Month. This month serves as a powerful reminder that we are all human beings and that we are all entitled to the fundamental rights that affirm our dignity and equality. As we prepare this budget, our goal is to ensure that all our communities within the Free State have access to these basic human rights, being mindful of the painful history of our country has endured. This budget is crafted to confront the lasting effects of a system that deliberately sought to divide us along the lines of race and color. It stands as an effort to address the deep scars left by such divisive past and to move forward, united in our diversity, towards a common purpose. Every effort and every energy should be directed to fulfilling the constitutional obligations we entrusted with. Our Constitution, the supreme law of our land, mandates that we, as the people of South Africa, must, number one, heal the divisions of the past, establishing a society rooted in democratic values, social justice, and protection of fundamental human rights. Number two, lay the foundations of an open and democratic society in which government derives the power from the will of the people, in which every citizen is equally protected by the law. Government must be based on the will of the people. Number three, recognize the injustices of the past. Sometimes people make mistakes not to recognize that. Honor those who fought for justice and freedom, and respect those who have worked hard to build and develop this country. Number four, improve the quality of life of all citizens, unlocking the potential within each and every South African, irrespective of race, gender, or age. Build a united and democratic South Africa, one that will confidently take its rightful place as a sovereign state in the global community. We are deliberately quoting the Constitution because it is the ultimate protector of our human rights, which were previously denied to the majority of our people under the apartheid colonialism for more than 350 years. We are only over 30 years into our democratic journey, and we are still confronting the painful past remnants of our more than 3 centuries of apartheid colonialism. To the community of the Free State, who continue to face tremendous challenges and hardships, we implore you to hold on to courage and persevere. Work with us as we navigate this difficult terrain, and above all, remember, just behind the clouds, the sun is shining. This budget is being presented under the 7th administration, which has identified 3 key include all our people. Number 2, reducing poverty and tackle the high cost of living. Number 3, build a capable state, build an ethical and development state. and developmental state. These priorities are further statement to our unwavering belief that ithemba alibulali. As Desmond Tutu reminds us that, I quote, "Hope is being able to see that there is a light despite all of the darkness. We firmly believe that after the storm, the calm will come. Difficult and turbulent times are followed by peaceful ones. Challenges are temporary and eventually lead to a period of tranquility." Over the past 13 years, the Provincial Treasury, in partnership with the Free State Department of Education, has extended search for answers and solutions to current economic challenges using young minds of the province through grade 12 budget essay competition. This initiative has not only fostered critical thinking, but has also empowered learners to contribute to discussions and the discourses about the provincial budget and the future of their own province. The innovation and creativity of our youth deserve to be celebrated and encouraged. The competition was open to all learners across the Free State province, with each school selecting their top 3 participants. In this year's competition, we had the privilege of seeing representation from our 4 districts, except for Lejweleputswa district. A total of 8 schools and 27 learners participated in this remarkable event. It is with great pride that I announce the learners who have secured the top 5 positions, and I think they are there amongst the gallery. Ke kopa mona re dumedise Aus Orogolole Maruping from Setšhaba se Maketse Combined School. Aus Mutsidisi Ntlare from Setšhaba se Maketse Combined School. Ntabiseng Sompani from Maralaneng Secondary School. Mehlonono Chabalala from Matlwantlwang Secondary School. Musimanyane Khape Bosaletse from St. Bernard's High School. Honorable members, the overall winner of this competition is none other than Mutsidisi Ntlare from Setšhaba se Maketse. Ke kopa o eme hape go fe lehlaso le monate. Yesterday, Mutsidisi was honored by a prize-giving ceremony which took place prior to the tabling of the provincial budget. Allow me to express my gratitude to the officials of the Provincial Treasury and the Department of Education, as well as our sponsors, our All Mutual and the Net Bank, for their invaluable support in transforming this competition into one of our flagship initiatives. It is our wish that in future, leaders will be involved to just coach the children and celebrate with them. These learners have demonstrated exceptional talent, hard work, and dedication. Their achievements are a testament to the bright future that lies ahead for our province. As we continue to invest in the creativity and potential of our youth, let us also take a moment to celebrate their success and encourage them to keep striving for excellency. Honorable Speaker, the tabling of this year's budget is largely influenced by major developments in the global, domestic, and provincial economies. Please allow me to inform this Honorable House about these some of the vital developments. In terms of the global economy, the latest forecast from the International Monetary Fund expects the global economy to grow by 3.3% in 2025 and 2026, whereas the global disinflation is projected to continue in most economies, with a decline in global inflation from 5.7% in 2024 to 4.2% in 2025 and 3.5% in 2026. And the global financial conditions remain largely accommodative. However, this positive global outlook is highly vulnerable to certain downside risks, which include the rising geopolitical tensions, particularly in the Europe area and the Middle East, growing trade tensions and protectionism driven by the imposition of the retaliatory trade tariffs, increasing global fragmentation and elevated policy uncertainty from the trade and fiscal fronts globally. At home, the economic outlook for the South African economy is mostly positive. For instance, our real economic growth, measured by the production, grew by 0.6% in the fourth quarter of 2024, following a contraction of 0.1% in the third quarter of 2024. Honorable Speaker, according to the Statistics South Africa, the South African economy grew by 0.6% in 2024. The IMF further projects a modest growth of 1.5% in 2025 and 1.6% in 2026. Meanwhile, the inflationary dynamics of the South African economy remain subdued, characterized by a low inflation rate of 3.2% and a repo rate of 7.5% since the beginning of this year. This confirms our view that beyond the clouds, the sun is still shining. Our labor market dynamics, the latest quarterly labor force survey from Stats South Africa reveals a slight decline in the official unemployment rate by 0.2 percentage points, as the unemployment rate falls to 31.9% in the fourth quarter of 2024 and from 32.1% recorded in the third quarter of 2024. Nevertheless, the continued efforts of the national government to implement effective policy reforms, which includes intensifying public investments in critical public infrastructure targeted at revitalizing rails, roadworks, and water infrastructure, eradicating load shedding, improving SOEs operationally and financial performance, deepening private-public partnership, reduce the fast-growing fiscal debt, the debt servicing costs, and public sector wage bill, aggressively promote tourism and attract long-term foreign direct investment, are anticipated to improve the South Africa's economic, labor, and fiscal outlook in the near term. At the provincial outlook, Honorable Speaker, coming closer to home, the outlook for the province is positive, albeit from a low base. The Free State economy is expected to grow from the 0.6% recorded in 2024 to about 1.6% in 2025, followed by 1.7% in 2026. This anticipated growth is expected to be brought by improved performance from the agriculture, finance, trade, and construction sectors. On labor market dynamics, the latest QLFS report from Stats SA shows a quarterly increase of 1.9 percentage points in official provincial unemployment, standing at 37.9% in the fourth quarter of 2024 compared to 36% recorded in the third quarter of 2024. Honorable members, we are convinced that the prevailing economic, fiscal, labor market, and socio-economic challenges in the province will improve remarkably in the near term due to the strong political willingness and demonstrated effort by the provincial government to ensure the proactive implementation of economic reforms and investment plans outlined by the Honorable Premier in her recent State of the Province address last month, most notably the implementation of the aggressive infrastructure investment to improve the deteriorating road networks and water infrastructure, to improve service delivery, revitalize the operational and financial capacity of our existing SEZ, to support industrialization and attract foreign investors and local investors, to promote the province as a viable tourist attraction and industrial site, adopt accountable public governance. Undoubtedly, our genuine intent to enforce the realization of these policies will not only make the lives of our people better, but also create a conducive environment for job creation, productive economic growth, inclusive economic development, and improve in the general welfare of our people. The cost containment measures, one of the critical issues. Honorable Speaker and honorable members, since the 2008 and 9 financial year, cost containment measures were introduced by National Treasury to national and provincial government departments and entities in compliance with the Public Finance Management Act of 1999. The primary objective of the cost containment measures is to curtail non-essential expenditure, directing savings towards critical service delivery areas. Honorable Speaker, in the light of the current fiscal constraints, our province remains steadfast in adhering to cost containment measures. We continue to closely monitor our compensation of employees' spending, and we are committed to addressing any fiscal leakages and inefficiencies identified within the system. We are obliged to continuously seek efficient methods to maximize value for money by improving the functioning of our government programs until the fiscal situation improves. Honorable members, it is also vital that all provincial departments and entities continue to improve system efficacy or efficiency. The departments and entities must review their respective organizational structure, and the Premier must give a date that gives a deadline on this issue of the organizational structure. If we leave it open, they will continue to be the way they are. With a view to eliminate, number one, redundant positions. Number two, identify excess staff. And number three, duplicated functions on the staff establishment. And also conduct head counts or verification of employees under the theme, where is who is where. I want to repeat this. Conduct the head counts or the verification of employees under the theme, where is who and who is where. This will enable us to identify and subsequently reduce the number of possible ghost workers in the system. The Office of the Premier and the Provincial Treasury must lead this campaign, where is who and who is where. In addition, the province will undertake a comprehensive skills audit to assess the current skills sets and knowledge base, with the aim of developing a robust skills matrix, reskilling and allocating new functions to existing officials. Honorable Speaker, we must emphasize that skills audit is not about getting back at employees with lesser skills and qualifications, but it is about empowerment and skilling those vehicles in the need of the skill. Skills audit is not about humiliating employees without skills, but ensuring that those without qualifications and necessary requirements are identified and assisted to achieve the required skills and knowledge. The unions must be engaged meaningfully to understand that skills audit is not the enemy of the workers, but a friendly tool to empower the workers. Furthermore, the province supports the central government's early retirement initiative, which seeks to attract young employees into the public service. Honorable members, it is anticipated that the initiative will result in potential savings, with the departments retaining these savings for the future use. Supply chain management. Honorable Speaker, Section 338(1)(f) of the Public Finance Management Act, Act 1 of 1999, and Section 65(2)(e) of the Municipal Finance Management Act, Act 65 of 2003, make it clear that all government departments, municipalities, and public entities must ensure that suppliers are paid within 30 days of receiving a valid invoice. I want to repeat this one. The two acts, Public Finance Management Act and the Municipal Finance Management Act, make it clear that all government departments, municipalities and public entities must ensure that suppliers are paid within 30 days of receiving a valid invoice. I think it's clear. It's valid invoice, 30 days. Invalid invoice, walala wasal. This requirement is not an optional, but a legal imperative aimed at ensuring financial discipline, economic growth, and business sustainability. Honorable members, let us reaffirm our commitment to good governance, ethical leadership, and economic transformation by ensuring that every legitimate supplier is paid within 30 days. This is not just a financial regulation, but it is a matter of economic justice. Paying suppliers within the prescribed time frame remains a challenge for some of the provincial departments, municipalities, and entities. The Free State Provincial Treasury is closely monitoring the status of payment and playing an oversight role in supporting departments to address this matter. Honorable Speaker, it is also imperative that the departments conduct a thorough investigation into the alleged corruption activities within our system. One of the most concerning reports involved the practice of paying so-called toll gates. I'm told that for some business people to submit a tender document or a procurement document, they must pay someone. For that paper to move from one person to the other, there's another toll gate that they must pay. For them to be paid also after they've done the work, they still need to pay the toll gate. So we are condemning this practice, and we are encouraging all the departments to really look at this and ensure that there is investigation in this. One of the most, we clearly condemn these alleged actions of corruption where suppliers are reportedly being coerced or forced into paying toll gates before they can receive payments of their services. This means that suppliers are effectively being required to pay in order to be paid, which is unacceptable and unethical practice. We stand firm in our commitment to ensure transparency, fairness, and integrity within the system, and we urge all involved parties to take swift and decisive action to address these allegations. Let us work together to build a government that respects its financial obligation, financial discipline, support businesses, and contributes to a growing and prosperous Free State. Together we can create a future where business thrives, jobs are created, and service delivery improves. Infrastructure investment. Honorable Speaker, we note with concern that our economy is not growing faster enough to create much needed job opportunities. Thus, investment in infrastructure will play a pivotal role in achieving economic growth, job creation, and poverty reduction. Speaker, delivering infrastructure on time and within the allocated budgets becomes very critical for growing our provincial economy and creating jobs. Let us work together, private and public sector and the financial sector, in turning the Free State Province into an infrastructure hub. Honorable Speaker, in the 2025-2026 financial year, the province plans to spend just above 5.2 billion on infrastructure investment. Honorable Premier, we are delighted to inform the House that close to 42% of this allocation is for projects that are to be implemented by the Department of Community Safety, Roads and Transports. This underscores the promise you made in relation to addressing key roads across the province. This also affirms your clarion call to turn Free State into a construction site. Honorable Speaker, we are also pleased to share with the House that the Department of Education received an additional 93 million through the performance-based incentive system program, which is managed by National Treasury. The program is aimed at improving effective planning and deriving efficiencies within the infrastructure delivery chain. We applaud the exceptional work of the department in this regard. Our fiscal is very constrained, and such work must be encouraged. Honorable members, we must emphasize the infrastructure development remains a cornerstone of our economic growth and social transformation. Given the fiscal constraints, departments and municipalities are encouraged to submit proposals to the budget facility for infrastructure to secure additional funding for priority infrastructure projects. The National Treasury has published a call for proposals under the new system. The BFI helps allocate funding to large-scale infrastructure projects that are expected to have a significant impact on economic growth, social development, and job creation. The first window is now open and will close in mid-April. We wish to call upon all departments and municipalities to take advantage of this opportunity. Honorable Speaker, the National Treasury's Procurement Infrastructure and Knowledge Management, what we call PINK program, will enter a new 5-year phase called PINK 2, building on the success of the first phase. The phase 2 will be driven by the Provincial Treasury as it strengthens the capacity and capabilities of local governments' procurement, infrastructure, and knowledge management frameworks, all aimed at improving governance and service delivery in the local sphere, particularly piloted municipalities, the municipality of Tsolopele, Setsoto, Metsimaholo, and Mukhaka. We look forward to a sustained and successful partnership with the Swiss State Secretariat for the Economic Affairs and National Treasury as we build a capable, ethical, and developmental states under governance. Honorable Speaker, we are pleased to report that all provincial departments and entities submitted the documents related to the annual financial statements in terms of Section 40 and 55 of the PFMA by the end of May 2024 to the Auditor General. We are also delighted to announce that for the first time in 9 years, the provincial PFMA audit outcomes did not have any adverse or disclaimer audit opinion. 10 of the 13 provincial departments, including the provincial legislature, were able to either a clean or unqualified audit opinion for the 2023-2024 financial year. The audit outcomes for the 2023-2024 financial year again showed a slight improvement for the provincial treasury, provincial legislature, and the housing fund, obtaining clean audit opinions with sports, arts and culture and recreation, as well as human settlement, improved for a qualified audit opinion to an unqualified with findings. Free State Development Corporation also improved from adverse to a qualified audit opinion. Honorable members, progress has been made in strengthening good governance and sound financial management practices in the provincial spheres of government. The number of disclaimer, adverse qualified audit report paragraphs of the PFMA auditees over the past 5 financial years reduced from 47, 2019 to 24, 2023-2024, a reduction of 49%. Whilst the number of non-compliance with legislation paragraphs in the audit reports decreased from 160, 2018-2019, to 102, 2023-2024, representing a decline of 36%. Honorable Speaker, we also note some improvements in the unwanted expenditure. However, the performance is still at an acceptable level, and we want to encourage departments and entities to do more to cap this anomaly and work towards finalizing accumulated outstanding investigations. Honorable Speaker, we will continue with our monitoring and oversight activities in this regard and work with departments and public entities to strengthen good governance and sound financial management practices to improve the audit outcomes by invoking Chapter 18 of the PFMA. Honorable Premier, the Provincial Treasury has actively monitored and enforced the implementation of the risk-based internal audits within departments and public entities to assist in the identification of the weaknesses in the financial management, procurement, operational processes, and prevention of irregularities and fraud. We must also acknowledge the significant work of the governance structures such as audit committees, risk management committees, and audit committee chairpersons forum for assisting in improving provincial audit outcomes through their independent oversight roles. We expect this to also happen soon in municipalities. Honorable Speaker, we have observed a decline in the financial management capabilities of most municipalities across the province, along with a total disregard for the set financial norms, which is why the Provincial Treasury will be working with COGTA and SALGA to address this issue. The Office of the Auditor General, South Africa, has highlighted that 2022-2023 audit opinions have been stagnated in the most recent municipalities' audit results. During this term of office, we will intensify assessment and actions on the 22 delegated municipalities. We will work with Auditor General to enable municipalities to improve their capacity to meet their financial obligations and commitments. By doing this, we will ensure that they improve their communities with services. Additionally, the National Treasury released the MFMA Circular number 124, which primarily addressed the ESCOM debt, but also covers the relief package and timelines. As stated in my previous provincial budget speech, Honorable Speaker, as of right now, despite the support from the Provincial Treasury, COGTA and SALGA, municipalities are not servicing the bulk accounts fully, which resulted in the National Treasury issuing termination letters to those municipalities. We will want to pledge that we will double our efforts to reduce unnecessary and inefficient spending by municipalities and entities. The Provincial Treasury will double its efforts to increase the efficiency of governance systems, which have also witnessed a slight improvement. To assist municipalities in improving funded budgets, the Provincial Treasury has expanded its support during the 2025 budget planning process. The Provincial Treasury provided training to all delegated municipalities outlining the important areas to ensure compliance and pertinent data needed to facilitate an efficient evaluation of the budget. Provincial Treasury concluded that just 8 of the 23 municipalities' budgets were funded, while 15 municipalities were unfunded. Based on the assessment of municipal standards charts of accounts data, strings uploaded to the Go Muni portal by municipalities. Unauthorized, irregular, fruitless, and wasteful expenditure remains a serious concern. This trend undermines service delivery and erodes public confidence in our institutions. We call upon public accounts committees to intensify their oversight efforts in reducing such expenditure. To strengthen financial accountability, Provincial Treasury, COGTA, and SALGA will provide continuous technical training and to MPEC members. Further, the Provincial Treasury will closely monitor the implementation of the unauthorized, irregular, fruitless, and wasteful expenditure reduction and preventative strategy alongside Circular number 6 of the UIFE, which was issued in January 2025. The fiscal framework. Honorable Speaker, the 2024 MTEM budget statement clearly emphasized the continuation of the fiscal consolidation stance over the 2025 MTEF period. The Minister of Finance went into detail explaining the need to contain the growing government debt and the related debt service cost, which is estimated at 388 billion in 2024-2025. Honorable members, the 2024 MTEF budget came with huge budget cuts for the province, and its impact is still lingering. It is pleasing to note that there are no further budget cuts proposed for the 2025 MTEF. However, we still implore all the provincial departments, public entities, and municipalities to remain prudent in managing the limited provincial resources. We must continue our fiscal strategy of directing budgets towards high-impact service delivery projects and programs. Honorable Speaker, we appreciated the physical position of the country, which requires us to do things differently. To that extent, in October 2024 and February 2025, we held ESCO Planning and Budget Lekgotla to deliberate on priorities that must be funded and implemented over the MTEF period. We further agree that there is a need to sustain our fiscal strategy of the budget reprioritization and trade-offs, scaling down of non-core programs and promotion of efficiencies within departments. We had fruitful discussions, and the budget we are tabling is informed by some of the recommendations of these meetings. Honorable Speaker, I will now briefly outline the composition of the 2025 medium-term expenditure framework over the 2025 MTEF period. The province estimates to spend more than 141.4 billion. The province will spend it this way: 45.8 billion in 2025-2026, 46.8 billion in 2026-2027, and 48.8 billion in 27-28. Honorable Speaker, the 2025-2026 Provincial Fiscal Framework, which amounts to 45.8 billion, is constituted by equitable share, conditional grants, and provincial owned revenue. The allocated equitable share for the 2025-2026 financial year amounts to 34.8 billion, which is an increase of 5.2% when compared to the last year financial allocation. Our conditional grants receipts total of 9.8 billion, an increase of 0.9%. Lastly, the estimated provincial revenue is estimated at 1.2 billion, which is a decline of 3.3% when compared to the last financial year allocation. This decline is due to the upward adjustment implemented in 2024-2025 adjustment budget. The equitable share. Honorable Speaker, allow me to briefly unpack a few changes that impacted our provincial equitable share allocation. Firstly, our provincial equitable baseline, as estimated through the 2024 MTEF allocation, is adjusted downward by 430.3 million over the 2025 MTEF period due to the updates of the provincial equitable share formula. Specifically in 2025-26 financial year, the decline is 64.1 million. Whistly for 26-27 financial year and 27-28, the decline amounts to 150.3 million and 215.8 million respectively. Speaker, allow the tabling of the 2024 national budget. The National Treasury allocated 14.5 billion to provinces to caution them from the impact of the salary increases emanating from the wage agreement. The allocation to the provinces in this regard were done through the provincial equitable share formula. And so the Free State province is allocated 249.5 million in 2025-2026 and 267.2 million and 279.3 million in 26-27 and 27-28 respectively. These additional are allocated to all provincial departments. The province is further allocated 68.8 million for the implementation of the Presidential Youth Employment Initiative, specifically for employment of the teacher assistants in 2025-2026. The funds are allocated to the Department of Education. Conditional grants. Conditional grants allocations are mainly for implementing the national priorities and to augment provinces in the implementation of their sector priorities. These funds are highly regulated through the Division of Revenue Act, and it is thus imperative that the departments comply with the said act and implement projects and programs as directed. Speaker, in the 2025 MTEF period, I heard the province has allocated more than 28.7 billion to implement the key socio-economic programs and projects. Thus, in 2025-26, the province will spend 9.8 billion whistly. 2026-2027 and 2027 and 2028, the province is estimated to spend 9.2 billion and 9.7 billion respectively. Honorable Speaker, let me reflect on the allocations per department in this regard. Health is allocated a total of 3.9 billion, which caters for, amongst others, maintenance and delivery of infrastructure, provision of comprehensive HIV and AIDS programs, and training of health personnel. Education is allocated 1.8 billion to address the following: inter alia, maintenance and delivery of infrastructure, provision of school nutrition, special needs schools, and early child development. Agriculture and rural development will receive 285.8 million to provide comprehensive support to farmers and cater for poverty relief and infrastructure development. Community safety, roads and transport is allocated 2.4 billion for the maintenance of provincial roads and payments of subsidy for public bus transport services. The allocation includes an estimated amount of 201 million earmarked for the Welisizwe Rural Bridge Program. Human settlement is also allocated 991.7 million for the development of sustainable and integrated human settlement, as well as the upgrading of informal settlement. Sports, arts, culture and recreation will receive 239.4 million to transform urban and rural community library infrastructure, facilities and services, as well as facilitate sports and active recreational activities. Honorable Speaker, included in this allocation is an amount of 37 million provided for the implementation of the expanded public works programs. The EPWP programs will be delivered by various departments, coordinated and supported by the Department of Public Works and Infrastructure. Honorable Premier, in delivering the 2025 State of the Province Address, you alluded to the importance of the EPW program in alleviating poverty, promoting skills development, and enhancing service delivery. We fully agree with you, Honorable Premier, and to that extent, we want to implore all the departments and municipalities to move swiftly in implementing the EPWP programs. The provincial revenue collection. Speaker, the provincial fiscus is very much constrained, and therefore there is an ongoing need to enhance our revenue collection systems. We are pleased to announce that in the 2025-2026 financial year, we are proposing to allocate 17 million towards enhancing revenue collection. The funds will be shared amongst the Departments of Health, Community Safety, Roads and Transport, Agricultural and Rural Development, and Economic Development. In the current financial year, the province had set a target to collect 1.2 billion in revenue. We are pleased to report that as of the end of January 2025, we have already achieved 99.1% of the revenue target. This is indeed an outstanding performance, and it is only right that we applaud this achievement. Honorable Speaker, over 2025 MTEF, we plan to collect 3.7 billion. Our estimated revenue for 2025-2026 financial year is just above 1.2 billion. Honorable Speaker, let us turn to the business of the day, the proposed 2025 MTEF allocations. Please note that the details of the allocations are set out for each vote in the 2025-2026 estimates of the provincial revenue and expenditure, as well as 2025-2026 appropriation bill. Honorable Speaker, we are certain that everyone will agree with me that the drafting of 2025 budget has been a challenging exercise, made even more difficult by the constrained fiscus. There are still fiscal headwinds ahead of us. occasioned by, amongst others, the need to limit the growing debt service cost. In tabling the 2025 budget, the Minister of Finances emphasized the need to manage the debt and budget deficit by restraining spending and maintaining stable tax collection. He further alluded, I quote, "A vital debate about which policies to fund and how to fund them, about which priorities to pursue now, and which ones we may need to delay in context of our limited resources." The reality, close quote, the reality we face, Honorable Speaker, is that our province must strike a delicate balance between investing in initiatives that promote economic growth and protecting the essential frontline services. This balance is crucial as we strive to achieve the objectives outlined in the 2024 to 2029 medium-term development plan. Honorable Speaker, the budget we are presenting today is informed by various consultations as guided by the budget process. The budget is thus shaped by deliberations of sectoral meetings at the national level, the Technical Committee on Finances, the Budget Council, the Budget Forum, the cabinet meetings that provided involve premiers and MECs for finances, responsible for finances from various provinces. Honorable Speaker, in preparation for this budget, we have engaged in a series of comprehensive provincial deliberations. These included, among others, the October 2024 ESCO Planning and Budget Lekgotla, the Provincial Medium-Term Expenditure Committee meetings, and the National Benchmarking Exercise chaired by the National Treasury. Additionally, we held the February 2025 ESCO Planning and the Budget Lekgotla, culminating in the final discussion with the ESCO Council of the province. These deliberation processes were vital in ensuring that we align our fiscal priorities with the needs of our communities while also adhering to our national guidelines and best practices. Honorable Speaker, now turn our attention to the proposal allocations for the 2025 MTF. The details of the specific priorities to be implemented through these allocations will be presented by the esteemed colleagues in their respective budget vote speech. These allocations are carefully crafted to ensure that we meet the pressing needs of our province while advancing the strategic objectives of our medium-term development plan. We look forward to valuable contributions of my colleagues as they outline the details of their departmental priorities. Allocations, we have done them as per cluster. Social sector. Honorable Speaker, the department responsible for frontline services will spend more than 109.7 billion over the 2025 MTF period. These departments are responsible for the delivery of key services such as the provision of quality health care service, education and training, social safety net, and the strengthening of the social cohesion programs. On average, the budget allocation of the departments accounts for 77.5% of the total budget of the MTF period. Speaker, the province remains committed in protecting the frontline services, whilstly trying to balance the need to grow the economy. The Department of Education, Dr. MEC Mabuye, education is allocated 18.8 billion in 2025-2026, the 19.6 billion in 26-27, and 20.4 billion in 27-28. In total, the department is estimated to spend more than 59 billion over the MTF period ahead. The budget funds the following priorities amongst others: early childhood development, funding public schools, including special schools, funding independent schools, maths and science programs, pre-grade R development, teacher development, maintenance of schools, hostel programs, support to secondary schools, expanded public works program, cautioning of the budget pressures emanating from the wage agreements. Honorable Speaker, we applaud the Department of Education, the 2024 and the 2024 matriculants for their excellent achievements in the 2024 matric results. Let us never forget the powerful and encouraging message of our former president, Mr. Nelson Mandela, and I quote, "Education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world," close quote. Indeed, honorable members, the Department of Health, Honorable Mahlatsi, the Department of Health is allocated 14.1 billion in 2025-2026, 14.7 billion in 26-27, and 15.4 billion in 27-28. In total, the department is estimated to spend just over 44.3 billion over the 25 MTEF period ahead. The following key priorities are amongst others that are funded over the MTEF period: medicine and medical supplies, laboratory and blood supply services, food services and relevant supplies, maintenance and revitalization of infrastructure, emergency services, expansion of ART program, medical depot, training of medical personnel, stroke medical specialists, modernization of health services, training and development component, the creation of work opportunities through expanded public works program, cushioning of the budget pressures emanating from the wage agreements. Honorable Premier, the provision of health, of the quality health care services can never be compromised. We must confirm that we fully support the initiatives we have taken to ensure that this noble vision is achieved. This budget is fully supportive of this endeavor. Speaker, close to 31% of the 25-26 budget is allocated to the Department of Health. We are very clear and determined to achieve access to quality health services for all. The Department of Social Development, Department of Social Development, Honorable Member Thabo, is allocated 1.3 billion in 2025-2026, 1.4 billion in 2026-2027, and 1.4 billion in 2027-2028. Over the MTF period, the department is projected to spend more than 4.2 billion. The activities are outlined there, which are supposed to be undertaken by the social development. We are witnessing an unrelenting surge in the number of violent crimes, including assaults, rapes, and other forms of abuse that target some of the most vulnerable members of our society, our women and children. These heinous acts are not only a violation of human rights, but an assault on the very fabric of our communities. Every statistic represents a life destroyed. Every statistic represents a life destroyed, a future stolen, and a community shattered. Gender-based violence, in particular, has become an epidemic in our province. Women are increasingly subjected to physical and emotional and sexual abuse. This violence often occurs within the very homes and relationships meant to provide safety and support. It is a scourge that cannot and must not be tolerated. Similarly, violent crimes against children continue to rise at an alarming rate. Our children deserve a safe environment in which to grow, learn, and thrive. Yet many are subjected to unspeakable acts of violence, exploitation, and neglect. These young lives are too precious to be marred by the cruelty that some will inflict upon them. We call upon all of us, government officials, all law enforcement, civil society, organizations, and citizens to unite in this fight. We must work together to strengthen the legal framework that protects women and children, to provide support systems for those affected by violence, and to ensure that communities are safe and inclusive of all. Speaker, in Sesotho we say, "Motho ke motho ka batho." That is a very strong adage that drives the department. This is a department at the center of ensuring that we have caring and self-reliant societies across the province, Memata. With the budget we are proposing today, we are pushing back the scourge of the poverty, substance abuse, gender-based violence, and abuse of children. The Department of Sports, Arts, Culture and Recreation, Honorable Mesifuba. The Department of Sports, Arts and Culture and Recreation will receive a total allocation of 665.5 million in 2025-2026, 685.5 million in 26-27, and 707 million in 2027-2028. Over the MTF, the department is projected to spend more than 2 billion, funding the following priorities as listed here. Honorable Speaker, the department's mission is about creation of an enabling environment for social cohesion and nation building. We want to encourage all the relevant stakeholders to hold hands with us and work towards a nation building. Speaker, without social cohesion and nation building, our society will fall apart. We will not even achieve the economic growth we aspire for. Hence, it is important that all of us begin to support the initiatives provided by this department, be it sports, arts, culture, etc. The economic and infrastructure cluster. Honorable Speaker, the departments that I will allude to below, together with the Departments of Health and Education, are very key in stimulating the economic growth through, amongst others, infrastructure delivery. In the 2025 MTF ahead, they will spend a combined budget of more than 14 billion on economic and social infrastructure projects. The Department of Public Works and Infrastructure, Honorable Memanje, the department is allocated 2.3 billion in 2025-2026, 2.3 billion in 26-27, and 2.4 billion in 27-28. Over the MTF, the department is estimated to spend 7.1 billion. The budget funds the following priorities as listed. Honorable Speaker, we are delighted by the work that has been done by the department as announced by the Honorable Premier during the 2025 SOPA. The identification of the 29 dilapidated and unused properties that are to be repurposed through models such as build, operate, transfer, long and short-term leases, refurbish, operate, transfer, and outright sale will assist alleviating pressures on municipal services, will provide the necessary support to the department and ensure that the exercise is effectively executed. The Department of Community Saved Roads and Transport, Honorable Ntate Mbalule. The department received an amount of 3.7 billion in 2025-2026, 3.2 billion in 26-27, and 3.3 billion in 27-28. In total, the department is estimated to spend 10.3 billion over the MTF. The budget provides for the priorities of, amongst others, these are the listed ones. Let us remember that every time we get behind the wheel, we are not only responsible for our own safety, but for the safety of every other road user, passengers, pedestrians, cyclists, and other drivers. We must foster a culture of respect, care, and accountability on our roads. We call on all of us to renew our commitment to road safety. Let us be proactive in raising awareness about the dangers of reckless driving and encourage each other to always drive responsibly. Additionally, we urge the relevant authorities to continue their efforts in improving road infrastructure and increasing enforcement of road safety laws. Together, we can work to minimize these accidents, save lives, and ensure that Free State remains a safe place for all. Let us keep in mind that beyond the inconvenience of traffic, there are families who are devastated by the loss of loved ones. This is a burden we must try to alleviate. The Department of Agriculture and Rural Development, Honorable Merokman. The proposed allocation for the department amount to 883 million in 25-26 and the 911 million in 26-27 and 949 million in 27-28. Therefore, over the MTF period ahead, the department is estimated to spend 2.7 billion. The budget funds the following priorities as listed. The Department of Human Settlements. The Department of Human Settlements received an allocation of close to 1.3 billion in 25-26 and 1.2 billion in 26-27 and 1.2 billion in 27-28. The allocation mainly emanates from conditional grants, and thus over the MTF period, the department is estimated to spend 3.7 the following key priorities as listed. The Department of Economic Small Business Development, Tourism and Environment, Toto Makume, an amount of 696 million for 25-26, 729 million for 26-27. 752 million for 27-28. Over the MTF period, the department is estimated to spend 2.1 billion. The following key priorities, amongst others, are funded. The above-mentioned allocations, including the transfer to the provincial public entities. In 2025-2026, the Free State Gambling, Liquor and Tourism Authority is allocated 103.7 million for operational costs and regulatory functions, with Limaluti Apofung SEZ 40 million, and FDC will be only allocated an amount of 6 million, as it is expected that the entity should be self-sustainable. Office of the Premier, the Office of the Premier received 633 million in 2025-2026 and 649 million in 26-27 and 658 million in 27-28. Over the MTF period ahead of the Office of the Premier is estimated to spend 1.9 billion. The following key priorities as listed are mentioned. Honorable Speaker, we are proposing to reduce the budget from the provincial bursary program to fund other provincial pressures. The reduction is informed by the discontinuation of the international bursary project. Corporate governance and traditional affairs. Is allocated 447 million 25-26 and 462 million 26-27 and 478 million 27-28. Over the MTF, the department is expected to spend 1.3 billion. The following key priorities, amongst others, as listed, are funded. Honorable Premier, your directives relating to the district development model are very clear, and you have succinctly explained the importance of integrated planning across the spheres of government. We stand firm in supporting the DDM and call on all relevant stakeholders to start implementing the model in their respective plans. The Provincial Treasury, the Provincial Treasury is allocated 383 million in 2025, 398 million in 26-27, and 413 million in 27-28. In total, the Provincial Treasury is estimated to spend 1.1 over the MTF period. The budget funds funding the following priorities. Honorable Speaker, our partnerships with the, amongst others, the Association of Certified Fraud Examiners, the South African Institute of Chartered Accountants, and the South African Institute of Internal Auditors, and the South African Revenue Services remain steady, and we appreciate the work aimed at strengthening governance in our departments, public entities, and municipalities. Free State Legislature, but what through the Honorable Speaker and the Democracy. The Provincial Legislature is allocated 323 million in 25-26, 345 million in 26-27, and 38 million in 27-28. In total, the legislature is estimated to spend just 1 billion over the MTF period ahead. The work of the provincial legislature, as always, is commendable. The active oversight role played by the legislature, especially on financial and non-financial matters, is very crucial in ensuring that we attain fiscal sustainable for the province. Honorable members, the MECs of the above-mentioned provincial departments will elaborate on how their departmental allocations are aligned with our shared priorities, how funds will be allocated to specific programs and projects. We must remember that even in the most difficult times, there's always a glimmer of hope. Just beyond the clouds, the sun is shining, and we are determined to navigate through these challenges towards brighter days. We believe in the effectiveness of our planning and our unwavering commitment to building a prosperous future for the Free State. In conclusion, Honorable Speaker, today's budget is not merely a statement of figures and allocations. It is a commitment to building a stronger, more resilient Free State, guided by the principles of inclusive, transformative, and sustainable economic growth. In the words of the late Bishop Desmond Tutu, I quote, "Hope is like having a little light inside your heart that keeps shining even when things are dark or are difficult around you." Close quote. Honorable Speaker, as we table this budget, we do so with firm commitment to building a province that is economically vibrant, socially just, and structurally sound. The sacrifices of our past must inspire us to be custodians of a future where every citizen of the Free State can prosper. Honorable members, as we move forward with this budget, let us do so with conviction and with the understanding that together, united, we can overcome the challenges of today to build a better tomorrow. Even now, more than before, we believe that beyond the clouds, the sun is still shining. Honorable Speaker, as I conclude, I would like to extend my sincere gratitude to our Premier, Mema Queen Matai Letsoa, for her exceptional leadership and visionary guidance, which continue to inspire and shape the direction of this province. I also wish to thank my fellow colleagues of the Executive Councils for their unwavering support, critical thoughts, and for ensuring that the budget decisions we made are aligned with the goal of advancing our province. I extend my appreciation to the members of Parliament, Legislature, and the Provincial Public Accounts and Finance Committee, and for all the committees for their diligent work in enabling accountability, oversight, and ensuring that we remain on the right path towards good governance. Accountability is the cornerstone of democracy. I'm deeply grateful to the HOD, Ntate Mohlahlo, and the team treasury and the staff in my office for the tireless efforts in preparing this budget and for their continued commitments to fiscal responsibility. I would also like to express my heartfelt thanks to my family, whose unwavering support and understanding provide me with the strength to carry out this important responsibility. Let me also take a moment to express my sincere gratitude to all the people of South Africa, particularly the people of this province, for their continued patience, understanding, and resilience. Your tolerance and support during these trying challenges and challenging times are deeply appreciated. Together we move forward with determination, united, and share a commitment to building a prosperous province. Honorable Speaker, before I close, I would like to quote the former president of the ANC, Mr. Oliver Reginald Tambo. I quote, "It is our responsibility to break down the barriers of divisions and create a country where will be neither whites nor blacks, just South Africans, free and united in diversity." I hereby table the state close code, I hereby table the Free State Provincial Budget for the 2025-2026 financial year, accompanying documents for your consideration. I thank you all.
What does the Honorable, I'm not going to call any order to all of you. You know what you need to do. What does the Honorable MEC propose?
Speaker, I propose that the bill be referred to the Portfolio Committee on Public Accounts and Finance, as well as Budget and Oversight Committee for consideration and report back to the House. Thank you.
Any discussion? An objection?
None.
Approved. The bill stands referred to the Portfolio Committee on Public Accounts and Finance, as well as the Budget and Oversight Committee for consideration and report back to the House. Honourable members, I have the following announcement and guest. Please take note that lunch will be served at Bloemfontein City Hall. The parking for honourable members is reserved between City Hall and Provincial building. This brings us to the end of business of the House today. The House shall now adjourn until further notice. The House is adjourned.